Happy Thursday morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for another great live stream during our CS Ed Week. My name is John Shoemaker from the Department of Educational Technology, and I'm here with an awesome panel today. I'm so happy to be able to moderate this. We actually have some former students who went to Palm Beach County and they graduated from our schools and they are now pursuing computer science degrees at college. And we have a great group that are going through many different fields in computer science. So we also have several of our schools that are also here joining us that will be asking questions. So it's going to be a great session. But before we get started, as always, we want to start off with some housekeeping. And as always, if you're new here, there's a chat box over there on the right side over in YouTube. You can use that to communicate with us and with the panelists. So if we see some good questions over there in the panel or in the chat, we'll be able to add those to our conversation as well. So use that chat box to communicate. If you have never used it before, you may have to set up a channel, just say yes, and then refresh the page and you should be good to go. Also, while you're here, down below, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel. We are now over 5,000 people, which is awesome, having that many people watching and subscribing to our videos. And I don't know if we have any of our moderators, but if there is a moderator in the chat, they will have a little wrench next to their name. And most importantly, in the top right corner of that slide there, please share what you're doing on social media with us. So if you're joining us and you've got groups of students watching, if you're allowed to use their photo, please take pictures of what they're doing and make sure to tag us on Twitter at EdTechPBC and use the hashtag CSEverywhere, which is kind of the code.org. They're using that as the hashtag this year. We've had one or two of our schools that have already been retweeted by code.org, which is really cool. We just want to see what your students are doing to learn about coding this week. Especially our secondary schools. We've seen some of our elementary schools coding, so we want to see what our secondary schools are doing as well. And so with that, as I said, we're going to share some of our graduates. And what I'm going to do is bring each one up one at a time and let them introduce themselves and let us know where they're going to school and what they're majoring in. And then we will get to our questions, okay? So we've got Evan first. Evan, welcome, and feel free to share with us where you're going and what you're studying.
Yeah, sure. So hi, everyone. My name's Evan. I'm from Spanish River. So I am currently working on 3 degrees, computer science, of course, mathematics, as well as philosophy. My goal is I am hoping to go to a PhD program where I get to research computer vision and natural language processing, which are subsets of machine learning and artificial intelligence.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Evan. All right, next up we have Audrey. Go ahead, Audrey.
Hello, everyone. My name is Audrey. I graduated from Olympic Heights, and I'm currently going to UF, as my shirt suggests.
Mm-hmm.
I'm majoring in computer science, and I'm minoring in digital arts and sciences, which is basically the arts, but specifically with computer science.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you for joining us. Next up, we have Alexa. Alexa, let us know about you.
Hi, my name's Alexa. I'm a third-year student from UF. I graduated from Olympic Heights, and I'm majoring in computer engineering, which is essentially just the intersection between computer science and hardware, and then I minor in Japanese.
Oh, awesome. A minor in Japanese, too. That's new information we didn't talk about. Very cool. Great. All right. Up next, Max. Welcome, Max.
Hey, what's good? I graduated from Spanish River. I'm a freshman at UF, and I'm majoring in computer science.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Max. Max just out of our high school, so he remembers what it was like just recently, right? That's not too long ago. Awesome. So next up, we'll bring Nicole. Nicole, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole. I graduated from Olympic Heights, and I currently go to UCF. I'm a computer science major with a math minor, and I'm hoping to go into game development in my future.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Nicole. And last but not least, we have Kaylee. Kaylee, thanks for joining us. Tell us a little about yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name's Kaylee. I am a fourth-year undergraduate nuclear engineering student at the University of Florida. So no, I am not a computer science major, but I do actually work on computer science research for nuclear engineering, and I graduated from Olympic Heights.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kaylee, and thank you all for being here. We appreciate your time. And we're actually going to start off with our first question from Verdi K-8 school. So our student from Verdi, if you want to stand up and nice and loud, share your question.
Hi, my name is Mateus, and our question is, what's your favorite programming language, and when did you learn it?
So what programming language? Is that what was the question?
Yeah, he asked, what is your favorite programming language, and when did you learn it?
All right, perfect. Favorite programming language, and when did you learn it? Just give us a hands up, and who wants to go first? Go ahead, Evan.
Hi, so my first programming language was Scheme, which is this really old functional programming language. But my favorite one is Python. I think it is an excellent language to learn at the beginning. It doesn't require a lot of information to jump into. You can just jump into Python. It's excellent. You can do a lot of fun problems in it, starting from the very beginning. So I think it's an excellent language.
Awesome. Anyone else want to take that question? Go ahead, Kaylee, and then we'll go to Audrey.
I second Evan in Python. That was the first language I learned my sophomore year of high school. I actually use it a lot now in my research, believe it or not. So it's been super helpful, super applicable, and it is so easy. You can just dive right into it.
Awesome. All right, Audrey, go ahead.
So I'm going to kind of be the black sheep here probably, but I think my favorite programming language has to be C++. I learned it my freshman year of college, and it's very difficult, and it's definitely a very beefy language, but you can do pretty much anything with it. And I just love the problem-solving aspect because you have to think a lot to figure things out with it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so let's go on to our next question. We're going to hop over to another one of our schools, Emerald Cove Middle School. So Emerald Cove, we have our question ready to go, nice and loud.
We do. Nice and loud, Jason.
Hi, my name is Jason Newman, and I go to Emerald Cove Middle School. My question for you is, what was the hardest part in pursuing your computer science career?
Say it again, your hardest part for school?
What was your hardest part pursuing your computer science career? Like right now in school.
Hardest part pursuing your computer science career. Awesome. Who wants to take that one? Hardest part so far. Come on, go ahead, Nicole.
Honestly, the dedication, like keeping up with the motivation of like going through it. Also, like the procrastination, honestly, was just really hard to push through. But like once you get through it, if you have the motivation and like the enjoyment of computer science, like you can do anything. So it's totally cool.
Yeah, I love that. The determination. Very good. Go ahead, Max.
Honestly, the math, like right now I'm smashing through calculus finals, and this is like really difficult. I'm not like a math person at heart, but I know how to code, so it's like a lot more difficult than expected.
So what you're saying is you need to have a little bit of a strong background in math, possibly to
there's a lot of math courses in a computer science degree.
Okay, so that's good to know for students who will be interested in coding. They may not know that math is also a very big part of it. Okay, Alexa, you had also.
I think going off of Nicole, like on top of the dedication, there's a lot of learning you have to do outside of the classroom, because really like a lot of your professors will give you a nice starting off point. But if you want to learn more, if you want to be able to get jobs, a lot of things you have to do is your own personal projects, your own personal research to truly understand how to do stuff.
Yep, for sure. So that outside of the classroom work that needs to be done as well, on top of all the stuff that's required for class. Very good. All right, so let's hop over to one of our high schools. We're going to hop over to Spanish River High School. Thank you for joining us there. And nice and loud, and share your question.
Hi, so I was wondering about how many hours a week do you spend on coursework? And that might include lectures and homework and projects for school. And what do you do in your free time outside of that?
Awesome. Great question. So about how many hours a week do you spend, and what do you do in your free time? Kaylee, you jumped on that one quick. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that I feel like is a nice opportunity to kind of talk about why it's important to do things in your free time. I probably spend about, in college, I think it's nice to think of school as a full-time job, right? So working 40 hours a week, if you treat it as kind of like a 9 to 5, that was like the best piece of advice I got my freshman year. So as long as you are in class or working from 9 to 5, then outside of those hours, it's pretty easy to try and balance fun things, right? So I'm actually on the triathlon team here at UF, so that's a lot of fun, takes up a lot of time. And I don't know, besides that, I like to hang out with my friends, you know, the typical stock answers. But yeah, there's a lot of room for things that you enjoy outside of, you know, the smart people stuff.
Yep, for sure. Anyone else want to share how much time they are in school and what you guys do in your free time? Anyone? Go ahead, Nicole.
I'd probably say like the same amount as Kaylee, like probably like about 40 hours is probably, it's a full-time job basically. But my free time, I like to play video games and watch shows and stuff, but I definitely want to recommend like try getting like the full college experience of like doing things, not just focusing wholeheartedly on college. Like you want to have fun while you're here. It's definitely very stressful just to focus all your time on working. So just try to have fun while you're here, basically.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's nice to have a balance. And I think Kaylee kind of alluded to that as well, having a balance between your academics and your social life in college as well, because oftentimes, unfortunately, some students don't have that balance. They're either totally academic and they don't do anything social, or they're just the opposite. They're too social and they're not very academic. So I think that's a good advice going in for those looking to go to college, that keeping that balance. And I've never heard the 9 to 5 thing before. I think that's a great idea as well. You know, using that time for your studying, and then you have some hours at the end of the day to have some fun. Perfect. I am going to next hop over to Olympic Heights, one of our other high schools that are joining us for our next question. So Olympic Heights, who do we have? Nice and loud so we can hear you. And make sure you unmute yourselves, guys.
What classes would you recommend taking in high school?
Perfect. All right. So what classes do you recommend taking in high school? Go ahead, Evan, and then we'll go to Max.
I think the most important thing to do while you're in high school is to develop your problem-solving skills. I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. So what are some good classes to do that? Well, there's multiple ways you can problem solve. So for example, taking computer science classes will clearly be good prep for computer science in college. But other ways of problem solving is through math. And even through writing essays, I find that to be a very good way to do it. Because although you may not think that's useful, while you're in meetings with people, it's important to know how to express your views, how to convince others to agree with you, or how to understand other people's arguments. And that's something that English classes or other types of philosophical classes can be very good at.
An interesting perspective there. We talked a lot about math skills being needed, but you also need that language arts side of things so that you can persuade people or defend what you're doing, to say why what you have done is important, or why, you know, when you're looking at a company, we talked a couple of days ago with people like who are working in teams of people, and there may be 50 or 60 people just working on their website for a company. And, you know, you need to be able to persuade and explain why you think something is more important or should be put it in the front of things rather than, you know, maybe at the bottom of the page. Awesome. So Max, do you also want to answer that one?
Yeah, definitely take AP, CSP, and CSA, because those are important. They give you the coding fundamentals. Try to take Calc 1 and Calc 2 APs in high school, because it'll cut you out of both of those calcs if you're doing a computer science degree. AP Enviro doesn't go over, so I wouldn't do that. Those are good. Definitely do the writing classes like AP Lang, AP Lit. If you can do those count for a 24,000 word requirement at UF. Try to take as many APs as you can, honestly, if you can fit it in, and like also save your mental health, because a lot of them go over to UF. If you decide to go to like a Florida school, I'd do that.
And I think it's important for what you're saying. I'll get back to you in 1 second, Evan. I think it's important that you say that if you're a student in high school that you know what you're looking for and you know where you want to go to college, go look at what those colleges require and see what will transfer over. I struggled with foreign language. That's why I struggle with trying to learn how to code. I'm just not wired that way. But I did not take 2 years of a foreign language in high school, and it kind of bit me because I needed that in college. So I actually had to use some of my elective classes in college to make up for courses I could have done in high school. So it's just something to think about, that you could be adding to your degree already in high school, or taking courses away that you wouldn't have to take, because let me tell you, it's a lot harder at the college level than it is at the high school level. Evan, you want to continue with that one?
Yeah, really quick. I just see in chat that somebody asked if I would suggest debate classes, and yes, I would. That's a great idea. I wish I had taken debate classes in high school. It's been like a lot of fun, and they are very good at developing communication abilities.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to ask that one too. Anyone else agree? Debate, thumbs up. You think debate would be good for your job, your position right now in high school? Yeah, thumbs up, couple of thumbs. If not, it's okay. You can do it that or no. No is an okay answer here as well. So, okay, awesome. So I'm not sure if Verdi is back yet. So what I'm going to do is hop to Emerald Cove first, and then I'll hop to Verdi after Emerald Cove. So Emerald Cove, our next question, please.
She's on her way.
Nice and loud, please.
Hi, I'm Haley. What job would you pursue with the computer science degree?
Sorry, I missed that one too. Can you say it again?
What job would you pursue with a computer science degree?
Okay, so what job would you like to pursue with your computer science degree? So we kind of hinted on this earlier in our backstage time, but remember, a lot of people haven't seen that yet. So what do you want to do? Go ahead, Kaylee.
So I think this is a really great question. You can do anything with computer science, right? Most of you are studying computer science, and even to you middle schoolers, you've got plenty of time to play around with CS, and starting now is so exciting to see, because learning these skills is going to help you throughout the rest of your life. Like I mentioned, I'm a nuclear engineer. I'm not a computer scientist. I spent a lot of time in CS classes like APCSP and APCSA in high school, and I really enjoyed it, but nuclear was always really interesting to me. I kind of like chemistry and physics and that kind of thing, so I decided to combine them. And I found out very quickly that computer science is the foundation of a lot of math and science and research, because using computers simplifies everything that we have to do and makes our lives so much easier, so we can get data and make things safer and do all kinds of exciting things like that. So what I want to do specifically is I want to study how fuel for nuclear reactors becomes kind of like Swiss cheese, right? It develops all these little tiny holes inside of it, and it's a phenomenon that we don't really understand, right? It's something that happens that we don't understand. So I want to use computer science to help us understand it.
Awesome. So it's kind of finding your passion, which you're talking about, and finding a problem like Evan was talking about, putting those two together, find those problems with your passion, and then jump on board with that. I love that. Anyone else? I know that Nicole, you shared you were interested in game development. Audrey, go ahead. I think you also maybe said that as well.
Yes, I'm also interested in game development. I wanted to sort of go off what Kaylee said, but like sort of on the other side of the spectrum, that computer science just doesn't have to be math and science. Like, you can do art with it too. I did art classes all 4 years of high school, and I've done 3D modeling courses here at UF. I've done animation courses. So honestly, you can shape computer science to be anything that you want to do. Whatever you're passionate about, you can do it with computer science.
I love that, because I think it's important if you're looking at gaming, you're talking to Audrey and Nicole looking at gaming, but I think they're looking at very different aspects of gaming. When we think about, if you think about a video game, you've got the coding that's running, you've got to have graphics, you've got to have animation, you have all of these things, and not one person just does all of that. Now there are indie developers that can kind of do it all. They may not look great, but but it takes teams of people all with specialized skill sets, right? And so you may be using computer science, but you're using it in this wide range of different places within one organization even. So yeah, I love that idea that it goes, again, figure out your passion and then apply your computer science to that as well. Awesome. So let's go to Verdi. I think they're back and ready for us. So Verdi, who do we have next? And nice and loud.
Hi, I'm Harlow from Verdi, and I'd like to know, what is it like being a woman in computer science, and what advice do you have for women that are planning on going to computer science?
Great question. So guys, you got to sit this one out. Girls, what's it like being a female in computer science, and what advice would you give our young girls in middle and high school for going into this field? Alexa, Nicole, Alexa, go ahead. Oh, sorry, hit the wrong button. There we go.
I feel like there's a lot of just not being confident in your abilities sometimes, especially when you see that you're the only girl in a classroom or you're one of the very few in a minority for that. But honestly, just being able to own up to your ability and understand what you can do, what you can contribute to a team, and not seeing stuff as being, oh, the only girl in a class. I've experienced a lot, as well as like a lot of people have, like when you're in STEM courses, especially in college, where you're going to be one of the few girls, and it can be very intimidating and very challenging, but not letting that like deter you from going through and doing your stuff. Honestly, it doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter anything. Just being able to like understand your own abilities and being able to be confident and speak up, and not letting something such as you're a girl deter you from just being able to contribute to the team and speaking up. And
I love it. Anyone else want to share? Nicole, go ahead.
So Alexa made a lot of great points. Basically everything she said, but also like it can feel a little lonely at times. I won't lie, like seeing you're like one of the only like girls in the class. But this kind of goes to answer like one of the questions that's in the chat as well. There are a lot of clubs that like are for women in STEM as well. So I feel like it's good to like reach out to those clubs and like join any clubs that might relate to computer science or like any engineering in general, because then you can find people who relate to you, and so it won't feel as lonely.
Yeah, agreed. I think, and thank you for acknowledging that chat question. I was going to bring it to you guys with the engineering side, but it fits perfectly with this discussion as well. So even if you are the only person in the class, there are other resources available to you, clubs, people. It just may be that class, but in that major there could be many other people who are like you, that could help with your self-esteem. It is intimidating, right? You're the only girl there. On the flip side, I was the only guy in an elementary education major, so it was so awkward with girls, like I'm like going into these classes, so it's very intimidating, because you're like, do I really belong here? So, but you do belong there. If that's what you want to do, that's your passion and you're good at it. Don't let that eat at your confidence. Kaylee, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think this is really, really important. And thank you for asking this, because we do face these issues. It's going to happen, and sometimes you might be in a situation where somebody looks down on you because of your gender, and that really, really stinks when that happens, but you can't let it eat away at you. My rule of thumb is, if I'm in a situation where that happens, and it has happened before, I can be sad and angry about it for a day, and then that's it. I set that limit for myself, and I can be emotional, and then after that day, I really just try to reground myself, take a deep breath, remind myself of why I'm so awesome, and, use that to kind of propel me forward, and, use the whole philosophy of prove them wrong,
Yep, and use your intelligence to prove them wrong. Show them that you really do belong there. Awesome advice, thank you. We're gonna hop over to Spanish River again and see our question from there. Spanish River, I know you gotta unmute, so take your time.
Hello, my question is, what is something unexpected you found when first entering college as a computer science major?
All right, something unexpected you found when entering college as a computer science major. Audrey, go ahead first, and then we'll get Max.
So I'm not sure if this 100% counts, but I went into UF as a mechanical engineer, and I quickly realized that it wasn't for me, and I ended up switching into computer science after a lot of debate. So I would say that my most unexpected thing was the fact that I was a computer science major. I ended up being a computer science major because, as I said, I didn't come in as it, and it took a lot of self-reflection to decide that this is what I want to do and that I actually really, really enjoy it. You know, I rediscovered that passion for computer science. So, you know, this is also a piece of advice. Don't be afraid to change your major when you get into college because it's not set in stone and you can always try new things.
I was going to say, there are many people who change their major after their first or second year of college. So don't have that fear. As an education major, it was always interesting to see the first time that students got to go out to student teach and actually be in the classroom with the teacher. And that was almost always something that would have people changing their major when they realize, I do not want to be in a classroom with all these kids or teenagers or whatever. They realize that that's definitely not what they're interested in. So don't have that fear. You may think you know what you want, and then you get into a couple classes and you realize, no, maybe I'm not as passionate about this. Max, you just got into college, right? This is your freshman year. So tell us what it was like and anything that was unexpected.
Yeah, the most unexpected thing was probably having to relearn how to study, because like I thought I had it down pat in high school. I had all 4 years I could study easily, get A's on everything. Then you get to college and then you really get hit with the brick. So like you have to teach yourself again how to study, and you spend like weeks studying in advance. You like have to start preparing a lot earlier and then reviewing material in different ways. You learn how to teach yourself and like how you actually have to learn. So it's just a new process of teaching yourself how to learn like a lot of material.
Yeah, and I know no one else here is a freshman, right? I think you guys are all either seniors or juniors. Yeah, so it's been a couple years for you guys, but that first exam your freshman year when you get slammed, you thought you knew what you were doing, and they kind of beat you into reality that oh, this isn't just all fun and games, right? Like, yeah, so definitely I think that's great advice, that it does take you it's a new way of learning, right? When you get to college. Go ahead, Kaylee.
Just really, really fast, it does happen to everyone. It's not just you, Max. Don't feel alone when that happens. Everybody gets hit by that brick.
Yeah. And sometimes it makes you feel lonely, right? Like that's like, oh man, it makes you doubt yourself, right? Like I'm good at this, I know this, and then you get hit with that and you're like, oh, well, maybe I'm not as smart as I thought I was. And it's a whole new experience of how to learn. So thank you for sharing that, Max. Go ahead, Alexa, and then we'll move on to Olympic Heights. Go ahead, Alexa.
I think adding on to that, a lot of times you're going to have times where you go into lecture and you're going to walk out and not understand what you learned. That doesn't define your intelligence. And being able to go and talk to your professor, there's office hours and so many different resources. So being able to just speak up and ask for help, it doesn't mean anything. Everyone does it. It genuinely does help. And just being able to have that repertoire with your professors really does help you in the future.
Yeah, agreed. A lot of times it feels like our professors aren't there for us, especially if you're at a larger school. You know, you're in with hundreds of kids and you're just a number, it feels like. But they are still human too. And if you go talk to them, they will. Go ahead, Evan, you want to add on to that conversation?
Yeah, this actually is touching on a topic that I was hoping to bring up. So one of my biggest regrets when I entered college is I was afraid to email professors. That is a no-no. Do not be afraid to email them. Once I got over the fear and I became a lot more comfortable emailing professors for help, I had a lot of more opportunities in terms of my understanding of courses got better because now I have somebody I know how to access to help me. I even had more research opportunities and opportunities to teach people as an undergraduate teaching assistant. Emailing professors is an excellent idea to get help. Never be intimidated by it. Most of them are very friendly, and the worst case scenario is that they just don't respond. So who cares? Email someone else, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think what Evan said is true. Most of them are there to help you. You may encounter that professor or two that is just not nice or not friendly or not wanting to be helpful to you. And there's always, on campus oh no, that professor, you've got them next semester, or, there's always that in college. But so you may encounter it, but don't let that dissuade you from continuing to reach out to professors in other courses. I think it's tough too, especially if it happens in your freshman year, because it kind of makes you feel like, oh, I can't do this at all. Whereas if you start out your freshman year, you're not as held back, I guess. So awesome. Thank you for sharing that. We're going to move over to Olympic Heights with our next question. Oh, they might be in class change, so I'm not sure. Hang on. Yep, they're in class change. So let's hop. Do we have someone ready at Verdi? Can we hop into Verdi real quick? Got in a class change time. Awesome. And nice and loud.
My name is Aaron, and I'm in 7th grade, and I was wondering, are any of you interested in computer building?
Actually building computers, okay? Anyone interested in actually building their own computers, hardware-wise? Max, go ahead. And then I'll go, I think Alexa had her hand up too, so I'll go to her next.
I made my own in like 8th grade and then rebuilt it when I went to college. It's just a fun thing to do, like to build your own computer. I mean, it's like a part of becoming a computer scientist. If like you like it, or you get to know the hardware, you put the stuff together, you buy it on Amazon. Like it's a fun project if you want to do it with one of your parents. It like helps you know what goes where. Like you can watch YouTube videos. It's cool to like get closer to put the hardware and software like together. It's cool.
Get to see how the hardware actually interacts with the software and where everything goes. Yeah, for sure. Alexa, I know you actually you're looking at the hardware side of things. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So my major is computer engineering. So it's the CS and it's electrical engineering. So a lot of times in my CS classes, I'll learn the actual software. And then in my electrical engineering, such as things like digital logic or circuits, I actually get to make circuits going through with different simple processes the actual computers get to go and interact. And it's really fascinating. It's really cool. And there's a lot of different options and pathways you can go to where you get to actually interact more with hardware, such as there's lower level computer languages. There's things called embedded systems, even things like cybersecurity. You can actually go through and get to interact more with the hardware on top of just the software.
Yep, for sure. So you have the computer science, but then there's also the hardware side of things too with computers, where server building, networking, not so much computer science, but you're then moving more into the networking and computer building. And there's lots of different careers in that as well. So awesome. Anyone else build their computers or no? No? Okay, that's okay too, right? Just buy it and go. But I think that's the fun thing, is building your own or buying it. Either way, it's still you've got to learn how it works and program for it. So awesome. So we just were at Verdi Emerald Cove. You guys are next. Do we have a student there with a question? Nice and loud when you get up to the computer.
Hi, my name is Audrey, and I'm in 8th grade. Have you ever experienced backlash for what you do or in your vision? If so, how did you handle it?
Okay. Any backlash for what you're doing with computer science, or kickback, pushing back, anything like that? Anyone experience it yet? And I say yet because it will happen. Go ahead, Audrey.
It's not necessarily backlash. I thankfully have not experienced any hostilities towards what I want to do. But I remember in high school, as I said earlier, I always took art classes every year, but they were all regular level courses. And most people in my track who wanted to go to a big school like UF, it was you either had to do honors or AP classes. Anything else was it was going to be detrimental to your like resume. But I did it anyway because that's what I was passionate about and that's what I wanted to do. And here I am at UF. So don't let anybody tell you that your passion isn't going to be useful, because you can always do what you love and be successful academically.
Yes, I love it. And it kind of goes back to our conversation about being a female in the field as well. Nicole and Audrey, you guys are going into gaming, and for anyone that knows the gaming area in the past few years, it has not been pretty to females in the field. You know, it's been really ugly. People are mean, and so you will experience that. I'm glad you guys haven't yet. You know, here's knocking on wood that none of you guys will experience that pushback, but it is difficult. You know, when people attack you for what you like and what you're passionate about. But you know, I can tell just from this little bit of conversation that you guys are all very intelligent, and just always use that intelligence to your advantage, because those that are attacking you are oftentimes not the intelligent people. So Alexa, did you want to add something?
So I had an experience when I was a freshman, when I went to office hours once to get help with my code. I was having errors. And as you know, like when you go through coding, it can get very frustrating as you're trying to go through and debug and figure out your errors. And I had an actual TA tell me, if you're so frustrated, maybe this isn't the major for you. When you get comments like that, honestly, just ignore them and keep powering through, because what they think is so insignificant, and all that matters is your own passion for what you're trying to pursue.
Yeah, for sure. Just keep that in mind. And again, now obviously listen to yourself as well. If you continue to get those comments, maybe it isn't your position. Maybe you should search for another passion. But I agree, like, you know, if they just are just throwing that at you and it's kind of out of left field, you're like, what? No, I'm frustrated. Help me right now because I'm still learning. You are not experts right now. You're not meant to be experts right now. You're getting help from the experts. So yeah, keep that in mind in that as well. Go ahead, Kaylee, you want to share?
Yeah, so I actually a couple months ago started a TikTok account focused on giving like mini lectures about nuclear energy, right? And apparently that's like a really political topic, but I'm just trying to talk about science, right? You know, and so I definitely have received, my videos have gotten a decent amount of attention, and I've received, you know, some kind of funky comments, and you know, a lot of stuff that says, okay, well, she's just a girl, like what is she supposed to know? You know, things like that. And they are kind of those situations where you feel like you could beat yourself up about it. And that's when I instate my be sad for a day rule. And I can be sad about it for a day, and then, you know, I can make another video talking about, you know, my credibility and my credentials and why I do know what I'm talking about, you know. So it just takes time to develop that confidence in yourself and fight what we call imposter syndrome, which is kind of what happens where you feel like you don't know what you should know, you know, and you feel like you're kind of an imposter. You're not who you say you are in your field. And it's something that everybody tends to see and feel and experience at one point or another. And it takes time. You have to take time for yourself to really understand why you're feeling that way, and then to remind yourself that you are as good as you know, you are as good as hard as you work, if that makes any sense. So you are good enough, you are capable, and you can do it, you know, and you can't let other people get into your head and just destroy any confidence that you had in yourself.
Agreed. And I think anytime you put yourself out there, you open yourself up to that criticism, to the keyboard warriors behind the screen that are anonymous and can say whatever they want because they, you know, there's no repercussion because you don't know who they are. And bravo to you for actually putting yourself out there like that. It is definitely a very controversial topic right now, and I can see why people would attack you for that. You just see people, you know, get on a soapbox against other people and it turns ugly. But again, continue to use that own internal, I know what I know, and I'm good enough to do this. And I'm an authority, and stick with that. Perfect. So let's go back to see Spanish River. Do we have anyone ready there? We'll hop over to, there we go. There we go.
A little bit. I just want to let you know this will be our last question because we're about to change classes as well. So I just wanted to say thank you guys. It was phenomenal hearing from all of you. I appreciate it. Go ahead, Alan.
Hi. So in your computer science classes, like what do the classes look like? Are they lecture based or are they more project and programming based?
Okay, so are your courses lecture based? Are they more project based? Go ahead, Max.
My courses are mainly project and programming based. Like the lectures, I have 2 classes per week for my main programming class. One of them is like a problem solving class where they give you programs. It's kind of like a Kahoot. So they put up a program and then you have to put the output code. And the other one is like a live coding session. So she'll code and then you like copy the code down and understand how it works. But really most of the coding is done on your own. You're learning on your own. You like read the textbook online and then you teach yourself. Learning code is a lot of doing your own research, like Googling stuff and working and teaching yourself. So I'd say it's like on your own, not lecture based.
All right, gotcha. How about everyone else's experience? Go ahead, Nicole.
So I would say like depends on the classes because like some of them can be lecture based, but some of them can be very much project based. I know like at the beginning of my school years, like my freshman year, sophomore year, a lot of them were actually lecture based. Of course, like you had to do coding outside of class and stuff, but they mostly like taught you like in a lecture based format in class. But probably like my junior to senior year, it started becoming more like group work. Like you have to work on a project, can be for like the full semester or for like just like a month or so. But like it basically depends on your classes that you're taking. Yeah, just good luck with the group ones just because like working in groups is very difficult.
Yeah, yes, even as an adult, sometimes working in groups is very difficult. But yeah, and I think oftentimes you're in more lecture-based courses towards the beginning of your college journey as you go through those required classes that everyone has to take. And then as you get more specialized, there are fewer and fewer people oftentimes. Evan, so now we've kind of seen the 2 Florida schools. Evan is kind of a little bit different, right? Because you're not in a Florida school, even though you went to Florida. You went to school here. Where are you in school, and what do your courses look like?
So I'm at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. It's quite similar. The beginning classes tend to be, but what's interesting is it's lecture and project based, in that twice a week or 3 times a week you'll have a lecture, but you'll also have a project due weekly. It'll be in the beginning. It'll be a small little project. Just get used to, in my school's case, Java or Python or whatever programming language it is, and solving problems in that language. And eventually, as you go through university, you'll be able to choose the types of classes you want. You'll know ahead of time, hey, this class tends to be much more project-based, or this tends to be much more lecture-based, or some classes are a lot of fun. And it's called a flipped classroom, where what you do is you prepare by watching lectures or whatever it is in your free time, then you come to class and you work on a project there, where you have the professor and TAs to assist you during the class. And I think it's important to keep track of which classes are which, because you know what type of learning works best for you. And so it's important to select the classes where you will learn the most.
Yeah, for sure. And as you're looking at your schedules and things like that, like, if you're not a lecture person, but you still have to take lecture classes, maybe you don't have all classes for lecture that semester, right? Like you maybe put it off to the next semester, because there are some sort of flexibilities in your schedules of what you can take. I know a lot of schedules are kind of coded in based on when courses are, but oftentimes you have a little bit of flexibility. So, but there are different, there are both types of classes in all colleges. You've got lecture and you've got group work, project work. And I think it's important you'll know, like Evan said, you'll hear from your peers around you which courses are which as you go through your training. So Olympic Heights, do we have anyone from there? I see Emerald Cove might be in class transition. Olympic Heights, do we have I know we have a new class there, but do we have any questions from you guys?
Actually, I do. My other class had to leave, but they asked me to ask a question. But first of all, I just want to say thank you for having us participating in this wonderful event. It is so nice to see you again, girls. You look beautiful. And thank you for being part of this. And the questions for...
Uh-oh. We're lagging.
Apply for scholarships. And how many did you guys apply? And how many did you guys get?
Okay, so questions about scholarships. So who wants to talk about, did you apply for any? Did you get any? Go ahead, Kaylee.
So I took scholarship applications and treated it like a full-time job when I was in high school. And I can tell you, I am graduating in the spring with no student loans. So take Bright Futures very, very seriously, first off, but apply to these smaller scholarships that, you know, typically require like you write an essay. You know, if you have to write an essay, odds are a lot of people aren't going to go to that effort to write the essay. So it's a smaller pool. It's a little bit easier statistically to get that scholarship. And that's kind of the mentality that I took. And every day at lunch, that's kind of what I was doing my senior year. And yeah, I've managed to pay for my entire undergraduate education purely on scholarship. And my PhD starting next year is going to be fully funded. And I'm also going to be paid a salary on top of that. So they are so, so important. And yeah, that's my biggest piece of advice is find the smaller ones that require a little bit more effort, because most of the time it's worth that effort.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm totally jealous as someone with student loans, still as an adult. Definitely didn't have that advice when I was going to school. So thank you on that. Anyone else have any experience with scholarships and what they're doing? Evan, go ahead.
Although it doesn't apply to my university, I recommend looking into the Fulbright Bright Future Scholarship. It works for Florida schools and it's excellent. I ended up getting it. I chose against the schools that it works for, but I seriously recommend getting scholarships like that. That's an excellent one. I believe it's a lot more general too. There's not as much of a cap to how many students can get. I think it's like if you fill out the requirements, you definitely get the money. So I recommend looking into that.
Yeah, for sure. I believe, like you said, that one is more based on how you're performing in school, in high school. And but there is a caveat, like you said. The caveat is it applies to Florida schools. And I believe it's only Florida public schools. So, you know, there are schools even in Florida you can't go to with that scholarship. So those are also things you have to think about. And maybe that's what I'll go to next without even the schools asking. So Evan, what made you not want to stay here then and go away from here with that scholarship?
Right. That's a really good question. So I was deciding between University of Florida, UMass, and University of Maryland at the end. I think there was a couple others too. It was a while ago. I ended up choosing against University of Florida simply because, one, I like the cold. But more importantly, I really liked the computer science here at UMass. It's very well ranked, and I saw that they're really good in the specific fields that I was interested in, and still am. University of Massachusetts is excellent with machine learning, and that's what I'm passionate about, and so that's why I'm here.
Yeah, and that's important. So anyone else in the chat consider going away from the Florida school somewhere else, but then decided to stay? Go ahead, Kaylee.
So I actually, before I made the decision to go to Florida, I had accepted my offer to attend Norwich University in Vermont for their cybersecurity program. I got a full tuition scholarship, and all I would have to pay for was housing. And so I put down my housing deposit and everything, and I was all set to go. And I was going to study computer science and cybersecurity. And it wasn't until I toured UF just one last time because, you know, it was like the itch that I had to scratch. You know, I just wanted to look at it one last time. And I ended up scheduling a meeting with the department head. So this is interesting for those of you juniors and seniors. When you go on college tours, try to schedule a meeting with a professor or the department head that you're interested in. This is something really unique that I did that is ultimately why I decided to go to Florida. So when I scheduled this meeting with the nuclear engineering department head, I ended up meeting with him and talking with him, and I gave him my resume, and he offered me a research position in his lab starting first semester freshman year. And I thought that was the most exciting and incredible opportunity. I was going to be launching samples into the core of an operating nuclear reactor. Like, that sounded so cool and crazy. And you know, if for some reason I didn't like it, UF also has a sort of cybersecurity research program. So that kind of fallback was there for me. And then I started digging a little bit more and found out that there are a lot of people at UF that do computational nuclear science. And that's where I started, when I really started to dig into professors and their research pages and what they did online. All that information is public and available online. And when I found out that I had all these opportunities at Florida, I decided to stay here. So really, I have no regrets. And I think the best thing that you can do is meet with professors and department heads and people in the department when you're touring schools and look into what they're doing and what you think you might want to do.
I love that. I think when you're looking for a college, you're basically interviewing them, right? Like, you need to find out what the best fit for you is. So take that seriously if you're going to visit a college. And like Kaylee said, try to go and meet with someone in that major that you're interested in and have a list of questions already ready. Interview them as though you're going for a job, like, you know, like what you get interviewed when you go for a job, like, and ask them the questions that you're serious about. But I think having the research as well, there's so much on their websites if you're digging through their websites, but also knowing what you're passionate about, like Audrey had to fall back to computer science, knowing that there is a fallback at the school as well. If, oh, well, maybe I am going to change my mind, I can still continue at this place because they're still good with that. So that's awesome. So thank you for that. So with that, I think we're going to wrap up. I just have a couple of things to share. And then what I'll do is I'll bring each of you guys back up for kind of like the final word. So kind of think about what you want to say to inspire this generation behind you in a second. And then I'll get to you guys in 1 minute. So let me get you guys off of here and I will hop my slide deck back on. So keep in mind, as we're doing all of these live streams for CS Ed Week and Hour of Code, we do have resources for you guys, our teachers, on our website at edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. We've actually moved the Hour of Code, you can see right there at the top of our website on the left-hand side. And so that is right there for you. We also will have all of our latest updates right there in the middle of the website. So anything that's going on with our team, training-wise, it's always going to be right there. There's also a tile in your district portal that will allow you to access our website as well. It's the EdTech Training Site tile. If you do want to check out the Hour of Code, we do have that website is also live and running. This slide has the Lumio circled. Those are the elementary lessons, but we have all kinds of information. There's also unplugged activities on our website. So those are activities that you can do to learn computer science that are not on a computer. It's all paper-based, so you can print it all out and have access to that. So with that, I want to thank, going the wrong way, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We appreciate you. For those of our teachers, if you're interested, we've had a couple of our students who said if your kids have more questions, they are more than happy to continue to answer them. So we're going to share their emails with you because I think that you've inspired them as well to see that next generation. So thank you for that. So I'm just going to bring each one up for their kind of final word. So Evan, we will start with you. Go ahead and take it away.
Hi. So I think I have two things. While in high school, while in college. So in high school, I think it's very important to figure out what you're passionate about. And if you don't, that's genuinely okay. It's totally cool to go to college as an undecided major. And then figure it out as you go, take some classes, figure out what you enjoy. But the most important thing is to study only what you enjoy and study it because you enjoy it. I'm sure if you work hard enough at any major, you'll be able to find an awesome job that you would love. So now for college, I think it's very important to also get a liberal arts education. Be well-rounded, explore passions, explore many different subjects because everything helps everything. Even if you wouldn't expect it, just being well-rounded is very important.
Agreed. Great advice. Audrey, we'll bring you up next.
Great. I would say find your niche, your group of people who share similar interests as you and share similar backgrounds, whether you find that through a class or through a club. Just go out and find that group of people that you really resonate with, and then that will really just make your college experience so much better. I also wanted to say make sure to thank your computer science teachers because they probably don't get enough love, and doing this to show you guys what computer science is like at the college level is really great. And I really would have liked to have seen this when I was in high school, so make sure to thank them for this, and thank you for hosting this. It's been great.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Always share the love to your teachers. Thank you so much. Alexa, we'll go with you next.
First, please thank your teachers. They really do help a lot, especially like before college. And then moving on, try to figure out your own limit, what works best for you. It's very hard not to compare yourself to others, but especially when you get into college, trying to figure out like what best is for you, what works for you with trying to do outside activities, internships, etc. Just being able to understand, compare yourself to what you did yesterday versus others will help you just for your own sake and your own mental health.
Great advice. Love it. And we're going to hop over to Max.
I'm going to say do what you love and make it count. So definitely try CS out. If you like it, keep shooting. If you don't, try something else. Just find what you're passionate about, keep doing it, and make it count. You only live once. Definitely do what you want to do. Don't waste time doing something that you're unhappy doing. Like in high school, you have to do all your gen ed classes, but still like do the things that you love, spend time with your friends. Like every day is a good day. Spend it the way you want to. And thank you for having me on here. I really appreciate it.
Great attitude. Love that. Do what you want to do and make it count. Go ahead, Nicole. We'll go to you next.
First of all, thank you for having me here. It was really nice to talk to everyone. Also, please thank your CS teachers. They literally are the biggest motivator for why we're all here, basically. But as like advice to people, basically what everyone else said, but also like try not to have any regrets with like college. Like I'm sure you're gonna have classes that you wish you did better in, or like projects that you wish you started earlier or anything like that, but you'll get over it. It comes with being a college student. But also I would say like get started on some like personal projects like as soon as possible, just to see like what you're interested in. I know like as a game developer, like in the future, I would have wanted to start doing game projects like as soon as possible, just for the experience, but also you can build your portfolio as soon as possible. So it would be really good for you guys, I think.
Totally. Building up that portfolio that shows who you are and what you're capable of. And Kaylee, we will end with you.
All right. So first I have to say, all of you students watching this are so incredibly lucky that you are going to school in Palm Beach County. I cannot tell you how many of my friends and my peers and my classmates are struggling because they've never had computer science ever. And you're getting fed all of this information about programming at such a young age, as early as 7th grade. That's insane. You are in such an incredible position to learn an incredibly valuable skill. And so just take advantage of that. My advice is to use that as an opportunity, and don't be afraid to take risks. I'm not talking like crazy adrenaline junkie risks, but like don't be afraid to join a new club that maybe you feel like you aren't smart enough for, or maybe you want to enter a science fair, or maybe there's just some activity you've always been interested in, but you've been too scared to join or participate in. Don't be afraid to take that risk or take that leap. That's something that Miss Mimi, my computer science teacher, always taught me, and that I've carried with me for the rest of my life. And it's led me quite literally all over the world with different opportunities just in the past 6 months. So I just can't tell you enough to take this as an opportunity, take advantage of the teachers that are working so incredibly hard to make sure you have an education and you have these skills going into the real world. So best of luck, guys. And seriously, don't hesitate to ask your teachers if you have more questions for us. Don't hesitate to ask and reach out.
Awesome. Thank you again, all of you students, for joining us. Again, it's finals week. We know that you're leading up to the end of this semester. We appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Congratulations and best of luck to all of you in the future. And I can't wait to see your names plastered everywhere for good things around this country and around this world, the impact that you guys are going to make. So with that, we're going to sign off. And I do see there are 4 classes still in here behind me. So students in those classes, don't forget to thank your teachers. Take it from the advice from these experts. Those teachers are giving you an opportunity that could change your life right now, literally. You may look back today and say, one of these people on this screen inspired you to do what you want to do. So thank the person who's leading your room. So have a great day, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.